right, we're going to bring this meeting back to order.
Okay, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our website at qac.org/live or on our public access government television channel provided by Breezeline Cable Services. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment. Citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. All comments received will be summarized during the press and public comment period on this evening's agenda. We acknowledge everyone's participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table in our lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Jim Moran.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that brings us to the approval of our meeting agenda for today, November 14th. So we have the agenda along with the regular session minutes and the closed session minutes from October 22nd. They've all been circulated for the Commissioner's review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve the agenda and minutes as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. So we just held a closed session under the General Provisions Articles, Sections 3305B7 to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and under Section 3305B1 of the General Provisions Article to discuss boards and commissions. No decisions were made for consult with counsel. We do have a few appointments, I believe, for boards and commissions.
Yep. I move to reappoint Robert Mueller and Kathy Trotter to fill the vacancies on the Animal Control Commission. These terms will expire on December 31st of 2028.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
I move to reappoint Greg McGinnis as a member of the Board of Appeals, Zoning. This term will expire on December 31st of 2027.
Second.
There's a motion to second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I move to appoint Ida Hine and reappoint Janice Salazar, Tony Breeding, and Bonnie Walter. And this is the Commission on Aging. These terms will expire on December 31st of 2028.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
For the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, I move to reappoint Paul Lombardo, Matthew Tuma, and Phil Starkey to fill the vacancies on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. These terms will expire on December 31st of 2028.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. You forgot one name, Phil. Phil?
What?
I think there's only.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, okay.
That's right, yeah.
All right, never mind, okay. We have a motion and a second on this. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Yeah.
I move to reappoint Teddy Baker, Kathy Diotis, and Jeffrey Reese to the Planning Commission. These terms will expire on December 31st, 2029.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
This is the Plumbing HVAC Board. I move to reappoint Scott Jones, Tim Wilson, and Dorsey Patchett III to the Plumbing and HVAC Board. These terms will expire on December 31st of 2027.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We're going to hold off on the tax assessment, Todd, is what you're saying?
Yes, that was just for informational purposes, yes.
There we go.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That brings us to press and public comment. So we appreciate all citizens for taking time to express your views to the County Commissioners. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing to the Commissioners for their review. This commission respects everyone's right to convey their messages freely. When you come forward, please speak clearly at the standing microphone. State your name, your address, and your topic of interest. And in keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner.
First up is Donna Harrington.
Hi, my name is Donna Harrington. I'm the owner of Kent Island Beach Houses, 3 short-term rentals here on the island. So I am a resident in Bay City, so my address is 512 Broad Creek Drive, Stevensville. I've been living here since 1999. I bought my first short-term rental in 2010. I've been operating very successfully with short-term rentals since 2011. I actually support regulations for short-term rentals in the county, so I'm not here to, say anything about that. But as far as the ordinance itself, I just would like to say that I sent 2 pages via email for some consideration. And I actually heard about this through the Chamber of Commerce. So I am an active member in the Chamber of Commerce, and also from one of the state people at one of the Chamber of Commerce meetings. I'm not sure how other short-term rental owners have heard about this, whether they're owners or property managers. And I feel like you might get some really good inputs if you solicit the other short-term rental owners a little bit more. I'm curious if the Granicus study included any conversations with hosting platforms like Airbnb or Vrbo, who could do nothing but help you implement this. So it's going to take a lot of time and money on all of our parts to do this. So if they haven't been contacted, I would highly recommend that you do contact them just to see how they can help implement this to reduce the burden and the cost on many of us. A couple of other things, maintaining good relationships with neighbors is really critical. I have that. I realize that the people that I've heard speak in the past related to HOAs and that type of thing don't seem to have that. But like I said, I've been running my business successfully. I bought these homes as retirement income for myself, not necessarily to do this forever, but it has been successful enough that I did quit my full-time job a couple years ago. I guess what I'm asking is for you to consider the points that I mentioned in the email, and I have several rentals on the books for next year already. So I know when other things go into place in the county, how do you handle something that's already in operation? Like, these people have already paid or booked through Airbnb or Vrbo and that type of thing. And I hate to go back and say, hey, by the way, you owe me 5% more. How do you do that kind of thing? I think for the most part I comply with the regulations that are there with my own rentals and the other one that I manage. But I just ask that you would take the time and maybe consider pushing the start date for those who already have short-term rentals in the county. I realize there's a lot of them out there. So getting those who in good standing together is important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess you got my information. But
Yeah, we did. We received it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Is Al Kratchman?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Al Kratchman. I live at 403 Cranny Creek Drive, and I'm also here to speak concerning the short-term rental regulation. I practiced government law and was a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals for 13 years in my area, so I know something about this subject. I am a short-term rental owner. I've done it for a couple of years, and I have some comments concerning the ordinance. Basically, just 4 of them. One concerns the notification. I agree with Ms. Harrington that there probably could have been better notification, should have been better notification, especially if you have a consulting firm like Granicus, who were under contract to advise and develop the rule. They should have recommended that, all of the affected owners, it's a matter of public record, receive a written notice. There are multiple areas in the code, dock construction, cable TV regulation, assessments for road upgrades, assessments for sewer, will all say you should provide public notice to, individual notice to the affected owners. I think that should have occurred here, and I think, and agree that with Mr. Harrington, that would have improved the information that you have and was used by the Planning Commission to develop the ordinance. Second of all, I was a procurement lawyer and for 40 years, and would like to raise up the potential issue that I think needs to be looked at about whether there's a conflict of interest by the contractor that provided information for developing the system that was infected the process. Granicus, as per its website and as mentioned at other meetings, is apparently going to be performing under contract post-award, post-implementation to do a hotline. And if you have a contractor who has advised a government body on development of a program, they're not supposed to be eligible to participate in a commercial activity under the program. There's a section of the Maryland Code, 21050808, dealing with organizational conflicts, and I think you have one here, and I think it should be considered. Third, excuse me, I think there's a major definitional defect in the ordinance as it stands now. The ordinance, if you look at the term, it says you're regulating short-term residential rentals. The term is key to dwelling units, but your ordinance doesn't have a definition for dwelling units. I mean, that's sort of regulation 101. If you're going to target an activity, you have to have a defined term in there. This ordinance doesn't have a defined term for dwelling units. Last, I think there's some issues with your ability to enforce this, and I think there should be some effort to include some mitigation credits to actually offer a carrot instead of a stick to bring enforcement in line. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jennifer Thomas.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Thomas. I live at 107 Congressional Drive in Stevensville. I am a local real estate agent here on Ken Island in Queen Anne's County. And I also am a host for short-term rentals as part of my umbrella of property management that I also do. I both host for folks that live outside of the area, and then I have actually bought my own that I host for as well. I'm more or less here to echo what Mrs. Harrington has also said, that a grace period before implementing such restrictions. I think restrictions are somewhat inevitable, considering other markets and the climate. There's been writing on the wall that something was going to happen, but giving us a little bit of grace period to adjust. I mean, it's November and we're doing a lot of budgeting for next year and projections for our pricing, and those are things that we would have needed to factor in prior to right now. I think that would be a very reasonable thing to ask. I also have reviewed Ms. Harrington's email, and she brings up some other great points about the short-term rental owners being represented and having some input as a group, and I thought that was important to also mention. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all who signed up. Would anybody else like to speak? Okay, nothing? Okay, so we'll move on from press and public comment.
All right, Commissioners, first up, we have a brief presentation from Mr. Dale Walls, President of the Upper Queen Anne UQA Lions Youth Association. So come on up, please. Yeah. Yeah, come on up. All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I'm just here to formally thank the commissioners for a grant that we received through our community partner program as an outside agency grant, which came very timely and beneficial to we run 10 programs. We register over 1,250 kids in the community throughout the year, tackle football, flag football, cheerleading, lacrosse, wrestling, right on down the line. So we wanted to present you with a certificate of appreciation for supporting us and continuing to support us as you have through the parks and so on throughout the year. And that's it.
We'll give you a picture. Is Beverly here?
Yeah, sure.
That's
Right there. Yeah, Beth's here, yeah. You want to get a picture? Yeah, all right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very much. Keep up the great work, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just a quick comment, if I may. So these youth programs are great feeders into our high school programs. There's a lot of value, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't. I know that the coaches that coach our youth sports here in the county to get these kids ready to play at a high school level do it for free and commit their time. So to all the coaches out there, thank you very much.
All right, Commissioners, moving on, we can move into the legislative portion of tonight's agenda. So if you want to turn to tab number 7. First up, tab 7, item 1 on pages 1 and 2, we have a comprehensive water and sewer plan informational meeting for the Barnstable, Lowry Farm, and the Aspire at the Ewing Farm. So this is an informational meeting on those two proposals to amend the comprehensive water and sewer plan. There is a public hearing scheduled for Tuesday, December 10th to discuss these two amendment requests that are outlined in your books. And I believe we have some staff here. We have Matt Lucas, our Chief Sanitary Engineer, that can present some information, and I believe the applicants may be here to do a little presentation too about these particular projects. So I'll turn it over to Chief Sanitary Engineer Matt Lucas.
Sure.
Matt?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
So before you, you have two projects. They're currently both in the S3W3 map for sewer and water, and requesting a map amendment from MDE to move into S2W2. The first one being Barnstable, also known as Lowry Farm. The second being Aspire at Ewing Farm. So they are here to request a map amendment to the comprehensive sewer and water plan.
So for the public who's watching, what does that mean, going from S3W3 to S2W2?
So currently in the mapping, they are not planned to be served if it's available. So with an amendment, they would move into an S2W2 classification, which, if granted, they would be able to be served by public water and sewer.
The public water and sewer can reach only to the limits of this facility. So most properties are I don't want to say most properties, but a majority of the properties are S3. They don't go to S2 until somebody comes along and wants to develop them.
Correct.
So with that being said, because it's a question we get all the time, what is your capacity right now at the sewage treatment plant? What is your remaining gallons that are left in the system that's not already designated?
So currently in the plant, before the re-rating, we recently did a re-rating where we added an additional 300,000 gallons. So in the original plant, we have roughly 63,000 gallons per day remaining for discretionary purposes. With that re-rating, I believe it was last year we came in with that. 125,000 of that was earmarked for Marlin Farms and Dominion.
And when you say Marlin Farms and Dominion, you're referring to the running of sewer
Yes, public
down
sewer.
into this public sewer down in there, just like we're doing on Southern Cat Island.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a designated public sewer concern area because of the failing septic systems in that region.
75,000 gallons per day were earmarked for institutional and commercial uses, and the remaining, was for infill lots.
And that remaining is 63,000.
No, that was of the 300,000 gallons that we re-rated for.
Correct.
That, so 125,000 for Marlin Dominion, 75 for institutional and commercial, and then the remaining 100,000 for infill lots.
163 total, Jim, I think, right?
363 total
Right, but
remaining.
163 basically
Yes.
unallocated.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
All righty.
So the Barnstable project is proposed for 82 townhomes situated on Main Street in Chester, and the allocation that would be needed to support that would be 20,500 gallons per day of sewer, according to the rate schedule. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions on the Barnstable project? I mean, is there somebody from Barnstable here that can speak to that, or no? Okay.
Sir, I'm sorry, I am Lori Walter. I'm with Lane Engineering. I am the engineer that has been handling the Barnstable project, but our client is not here, and they did not instruct me to be here on.
No, just if any of the,
But I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
does anybody have any questions? Nope. You're off the hook. Thank you.
All right, the second project is Aspire at the Ewing Farm, and this is directly across from the Graysonville Elementary School, 290 dwelling units, which is made up of 72 townhomes, 218 single-family lots on Main Street in Graysonville, and the allocation necessary, sewer allocation necessary for that development was 72,500 gallons per day.
And just so I'm correct here, the Barnstable, the Lowry Farm, there is no additional infrastructure that needs to be built as far as for the sewer?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's, everything's right there on,
Yes.
running along the, but Aspire at Ewing, there would be some,
Pump station.
pump station and some other issues there?
Pump
Okay.
station and,
And that's all paid for by the developer?
yes.
Anybody have any questions for this one?
Why so many townhomes?
Commissioners, I'm Joe Stevens, I represent Canadian property. I can answer a few questions for you, and then I have some other people here that can as well. The zoning district that the property's in is in the master plan development district, which allows 25% of the overall number of units to be multifamily. In this instance, they're townhomes. The primary reason for the townhomes is, and Jonathan Content's here from Canadian, and Mike Irons couldn't make it, he's out of state right now, is to create more affordability. This is the Canadian's entry-level product. It's called Aspire. We provided a great deal of information to the Planning Commission, and we can get into it as much as you'd like here this evening, but they're trying to come in at a market that is a first-time home buyer market, at market rate, and part of that is to have a mix of housing, so to allow an attached unit, which is the townhomes, for a percentage that the county zoning ordinance allows and in fact encourages, and then single families for the remainder. It also, we're going to have an MPDU requirement, moderately priced dwelling unit requirement that, comes in at a lower rate than even market that's regulated by the county. And we would look, if we do it on site, depending on how we work things out with the county and staff, the townhome units will lend themselves to being the MPDUs.
So the developer is going to have MPDUs and not pay in lieu?
The developer hasn't made that decision yet and is going to work with the county before making that conclusion. But right now, that's the leaning, is to try, there's been this push to try and do it on site, and many projects haven't been able to do it on site For one reason is because of the very high HOA fees. You know, if you get a project like a Gibson's Grant or something like that, the HOA fees are very large. This is an entry-level product. The amenities there are amenities on site, but there's not this great HOA fee that would bump it up. So there's a focus right now on KOF to try and make it happen on site.
Okay.
The only other things I'd add, if I could briefly, is it is S3W3 right now, which under the plan is 4 to 10 year service. And the plan was adopted in 2011. So we're well within that time frame to request an upgrade to the to S2W2, which would be service after we get our plans approved by the county. So it would be the next step. We'd have to go get our plans approved. We did receive sketch plan approval from the Planning Commission in October. We gave them a big presentation, and they approved the sketch plan. And the application in this designation is wholly consistent with the 2022 comprehensive plan update. If you look at any of the maps, which we have here, but I think that you have other things on your agenda this evening, it's smack dab in the middle of area all around it that's served with sewer. It's adjacent to the school. It's within walking distance of the school in downtown Graysonville. And it's out of the critical area. It's not on Kent Island. And it's been designated in your growth area since the 1990s. So we hope that when you hear more about it at the public hearing, and staff does their reports, because I'm sure they will, that you'll act favorably on the application.
How long has the 290 been on the docket for?
The 290, you mean on the docket?
Yeah. How long has it?
In zone for that density?
How long has Hovnanian been working on this?
Oh, I think I can't say for sure, but they put it under contract probably about 8 or 9 months ago, maybe a year, but it's under contract. They don't own it yet. It's owned by the Hewing family. You know, it's taken that much time to do a concept plan and get it reviewed 2 or 3 times by staff and get it into the Planning Commission and then get on the agenda. So I'm going to say 8 months or so since it's been
And
under
the Lowry
contract.
farm probably a decade or more. You're not
I can
representing.
speak to that.
Mr. Lucas, can I digress for a second?
Yes.
If I understood you, you said that there are 63,000 gallons per day left. Did I understand that correctly?
In the discretionary fund of allocation, yes.
So these 2 projects are 93,000 gallons per day. So what we would have to do is tap into the 300,000, which is 125 for Marling Farm, 75,000 for institutional, and the rest was infill. Is that correct? So which one would we take that from? Infill?
It'd be infill.
It's infill residential. is what it's
Infill
called.
residential,
It's called infill
correct.
residential.
Institutional would be for schools.
And who would we be taking that from?
We're not taking it from anywhere. It's sitting, the
And
sewage
it
treatment plant has
hasn't
the
been,
capacity.
Nobody has the
it
allocation
hasn't
yet.
been designated.
No.
So basically, it's 163,000 gallons per day available.
Yeah, it's different. So if you remember like the Chesapeake Beach one, he owned that sewer allocation for, I don't know, more than a decade or something probably, right? So, and he gave up some in order to reduce the size of it, so that put a little bit more back into it. That's different because he owned it.
Right, that's different.
He had already owned it. Here, what we're talking about with this allocation, this is not something that any developer or any individual has allocated. It's just what the county has for future development.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything
I
else?
do notice here that, you know, water is the issue, and we're going to have to address that somehow, either.
The final leg to complete the full loop, or I guess interconnector back to Oyster Cove,
Right.
would be connecting Graysonville Water Treatment Plant to Oyster Cove.
Very good.
We'll have to do those design plans if we get through this step, and
Right.
we get a commitment for allocation would be our next step after the state approves the master water and sewer plan amendment. And then we'd have to go this full
So I
design.
know that you covered some of these things at the planning and zoning meeting, because I had the opportunity to be there and listen to the presentations. But APFO study's been done.
We did the traffic, and we submitted to the state and county. The states approved it. Now, we haven't submitted formal APFO because we can't do that till we get through this step.
Sure.
Okay? under the ordinance. But we did submit it for informational purposes. We felt like we couldn't come in with a almost 300-unit development and not do a traffic study, and we did that. The state's approved it, and all the intersections operate at level of service after development based on the lane analysis that the county approves at levels of service A, and one operates at B. So they're all well within the APF requirements.
And that was my question.
Yes. And we'll do a full APF, hopefully, is the next step.
Very good. Any other questions, comments?
So we're looking at 145 students, basically, as part of the APF?
Yeah, with Steve Cahoon, in conjunction with him, we did a preliminary school analysis. And the school analysis showed that all through build-out, through complete build-out, with background projects like the Bay Bridge Marina and with Lowry and things of that nature, the elementary, middle schools are all under level of service. High school, towards the build-out of this project, bumps up over capacity by a couple of few students. That's with everybody added. So I think the approach that we're going to take is we're going to redo it, because every year the state does new numbers. So we're going to see where it is, and if we have to do, the ordinance allows for a mitigation plan. If you're a little bit over, you pay extra money to the county for capital improvements, and that's what we'd be looking to do, because it's not, we're only talking a handful of students, so we don't think that we're going to have an issue. But again, we can't get to that dialogue until we get through this step.
Very good. Anything else? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Todd.
You got anything else, Matt? You good? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right, Commissioners, continuing on, we have a number of bills that can be considered for a vote tonight, and we also have a public hearing that was scheduled for 6. So do you want to do the public hearing
Yeah,
first?
let's do the public hearing first.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Thompson, we'll do the public hearing next. So we have a public hearing on County Ordinance 24-17. This is for the establishment of an animal abuse registry. So we have County Attorney Patrick Thompson that will read the legal notice and will manage the hearing.
On October 8, 2024, Commissioner Wilson introduced County Ordinance 24-17, a bill entitled an act concerning establishment of an animal abuse registry in Queen Anne's County. For the purpose of establishing a county animal abuse registry, providing for definitions, providing for establishment of an abuser registry, providing for registration requirements for various abuse offenses, providing for prohibitions on contact with animals under certain circumstances, providing for prohibition on animal shelters, pet sellers, private citizens, or others from transferring animal ownership to abusers, providing for requirements for animal shelters, pet sellers, private citizens, or others to ensure a person not on the registry prior to transfer of ownership of animals, providing for exemptions, providing for enforcement penalty, providing for severability, providing for applicability, and providing an effective date. This hearing is being held Tuesday, November 12, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the County Commissioners Meeting Room, Liberty Building, 107 North Liberty Street, Centerville. Copies of the ordinance have been available at the County Commissioner's office during regular business hours and online at the county website. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Written testimony of any length may be submitted on or before the hearing date to the County Commissioners. All hearing sites are accessible to individuals with disabilities, sign language interpreters, and assistive listening systems are available. For the record of the proceeding will be a certificate of publication indicating that notice of tonight's hearing was published for 2 successive weeks prior to tonight's hearing. Anybody sign up? No one signed up to speak. Is there any public comment with respect to County Ordinance 24-17?
We'll close that down and leave it open for 2 weeks. We'll go from there.
Yeah, I spoke with both the sheriff and the state's attorney about this today. They're in supportive of it. And State Attorney also wanted me to particularly thank Patrick for his work on putting this together.
So I had the opportunity to actually sit on the committee with Scott Haas from Department of Emergency Services and folks from the Animal Board. Basically what this is, in a nutshell, in the simplest terms, if somebody has been found guilty of animal abuse and moves into our community, they have to go on a register, which would prohibit their ability to do certain things when it comes to animals. So much like child molestation awareness list that someone has to register on, the same thing will happen with folks that are doing, well, we'll just say terrible things with animals. Thank you.
All right. Moving on.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. All right. Okay, so back in the legislative section of the book, tab 7, item 2, page 3, we have County Ordinance 24-09. This is for short-term rentals, and this can be adopted, if so desired.
I think that perhaps maybe in light of some of the information that was shared and ideas that were presented tonight, and information that we've received, I think it's probably a good idea if we sit tight and not make a vote on this evening, with an opportunity to take a look at some of the information that was shared with us. I think there's some pretty good ideas there that certainly need some clarification, and perhaps we need to have some latitude. So I'm going to make a motion that we just sit on this.
So I would like to get my amendment introduced into it, though.
Okay.
So it could be read into the.
Okay. All right.
And that is here somewhere. The amendment is to require that you have a county resident or qualified agent as a party to the short-term rental for purposes of contacting, and as we discussed at the previous meeting.
So you had to vote on, the amendment, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Any discussion?
Is that the one that you have to live in Queen Anne's County if you're a property manager?
Or owner?
Or owner.
But that's the one.
Yeah, that would be section 2A that would strike out 25 miles for the property, residency, or versus must be a Queen Anne's County resident or property manager, live in the county. That was the change, I believe. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-1.
Now table that.
All right. Now I'll make the motion that we table this
For 2 weeks?
for 2 weeks.
Table the bill as amended?
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
Yes. Thank you.
Need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, moving on.
We're good? All right. Thank you, Commissioners. Item 3 on page 4 is County Ordinance 24-13. This is for the text amendment for indoor shooting ranges. To define the use and add indoor shooting ranges as a permitted use in Queen Anne's County within the urban, commercial, suburban, industrial, and airport protection canal and gateway zones. Can also be adopted this evening.
Make a motion to approve 24-13.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So this is another one of those amendments that ordinances, I think that we've had some requests from folks that we consider expanding some of the zones that this usage can actually be in. Those were sent by me to the Planning and Zoning Office for our director to take a look at, and I have yet to hear back. Would my fellow commissioners be willing to sit on this for 2 more weeks so we can see if there's other areas that this zoning would apply to?
I would rather go this route and have these come in as a one-off, because they are such a, I want to say, and I talked to someone about your concern today, and my thing was that I get concerned because we've had other things come before us where we didn't look at the big picture of where it was going. This is really in a spot where it's not going to affect anything else in the county. to put that there, right? But if there's another one that comes in that could be used in 10 different spots, I just think, I'd rather see each one on its own in this situation, because it is a shooting range, and there's gonna be some kind of, somebody's gonna come out and say something. This one is kind of flown through. I just rather, this can't go anywhere else other than this zoning. I'm good with this passing the way it is, and looking at other areas if they were to come up.
To expand it.
To expand it, yes.
So you could make a motion and see if it gets seconded and approved, or not. What do you want to do?
So there will be opportunities in the future, is
Yeah.
what you're saying? To take a look at
Yeah, I think we consider
other zones that
Yeah,
this can be
absolutely.
used in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was my reaction to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one's been vetted a lot, so I would
Yeah.
think
And
get it in
this
place
came-
and
nobody
then
came
look
to
at the
us,
other
right.
locations people are talking about, so we have a chance to look at them, because even in 2 weeks, I don't think we'd have a chance to look at
Exactly,
what those different locations are.
and what else they may
and the
affect.
And the neighbors,
Right.
Okay,
but I'd be open to considering other ones in the future.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Me too.
all right, I'm good.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second on approving County Ordinance 24-13. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved, 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 3 on pages 5 and 6, this is County Ordinance 24-14, impact fees on farm employee dwellings. And the intent of this text amendment ordinance was to amend the county code to ensure that all farm employee dwellings are exempt from impact fees on various properties that have conservation easements on them. It's a consistency thing, and it was kind of a cleanup text amendment for these particular farm employee dwellings on our ag uses.
Motion to approve County Ordinance 24-14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. The last one under legislation for this evening is County Ordinance 24-16. This is the Community Reinvestment and Repair Commission on pages 7 through 10. And this is a requirement from the Cannabis Reform Act of 2023, requiring each county to adopt a law establishing the purpose for which money received from the Community Reinvestment and Repair Fund can be used for.
Motion to adopt County Ordinance 24-16.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That concludes all the legislative actions for this evening. We can jump back to presentations. So if you want to jump back to tab number 6, pages 2 and 3, we have, next we have character counts. So we have Melinda Ray, the coordinator of character counts, with proclamation 24-44, anniversary for character counts, and character counts November spotlight. So come on up. Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen. I brought a friend.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
A good friend.
Great friend, yeah.
Go ahead, watch your story.
So I wanted to give you a brief update before we celebrate our 24th anniversary in Queen Anne's County. I wanted to let you know that as of today, we have a coach in 100% of our K through 5 classrooms for the second year in a row, so that's very exciting. We are also in 10 pre-K classrooms in the county and all 4 of the middle schools. So we're actually reaching students from pre-K all the way through 8th grade this year, which is very exciting. I just added it up yesterday, and I believe it's approximately 4,200 students that are receiving character education experiences through character counts this year. It's very exciting.
Nice.
It's a lot.
More than half.
Yeah.
Yes, we have, this year alone, we have 110 volunteers from the community, which is really exciting. I wrote down a few things. We also have 12 student coaches from Kent Island High School's Honor Society that are also working with us. Last year, I wanted to just kind of mention this from last year, because last year was my first full school year in this position, and I was keeping track of the volunteer hours that our volunteers put in. Our volunteer put in over 1,000 hours of volunteer time working with our students last year. And although that is priceless, the state of Maryland does put a dollar figure on a volunteer hour, and that equates to over $30,000 of value to our county, which was really exciting. We also currently are partnering with 45 different businesses within Queen Anne's County as part of our Business of Character program. We're looking to continue building that, so if you work for a business in Queen Anne's County or own a business in Queen Anne's County, we'd love for you to reach out to us and have you be a partner with us in spreading good character. We also continue to build our visibility through our social media platforms. Last year, our post reached an average of 15,800 accounts each month. That's a lot of people that are hearing about what we're doing in Queen Anne's County. And we have people following our page from all over the country, so that's really exciting. And then just a small thing, none of this happens in Queen Anne's County without the support of our volunteers that work on our advisory council, the support of our commissioners, and the support of our community members. Queen Anne's County Public Schools has been a great partner with us. They welcome us into their buildings every day. And so I'm just honored to be in this position and to be able to bring these good things to you guys every month.
Very well.
She's doing an excellent job, as you can tell. Can't keep up with her. I just wanted to say that we are appreciative to all of the people that have been involved in character counts. Unofficially, we're 25 years old because the community came together in 1999 is when they said that they wanted some type of character counts initiative in this county. And because of the wonderful work of the LMB, they formulated a plan, and we had our first coordinator that in the fall of 2000. So it's been an exciting and very quick time. I can't believe it's gone. But having the support of the commissioners and the community, the school system, I think we're probably somewhere between 70 and 100,000 students that we brought the initiative to experience to them. So it's hard to believe in, a county of our size, but over 25 years it adds up. So I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing the legacy that we've had here in terms of having the support of the county. Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us to take a few minutes to remind you of what we're doing, and that we think we're doing something that's kind of exciting. And Mindy has kind of brought a new dimension to it. She's doing an excellent job. And
I told Wayne my head grows every time I'm with him.
But she is. She's doing an excellent job. And I think it's more than a job. I think it's a passion with her, because I think the way she goes about doing things, it's more than a job for her. And thank you very much for doing that. I believe we have a proclamation.
But I wanted to say, I sat here 12 years ago with you when Character Counts became 12 years old, and the realization that the kids that started year one are graduating seniors at either one of our high schools. And so we celebrated 12 years, but what we celebrated was the beginning and up to the 12 years. So those students that were graduating that year, that senior year, actually participated in Character Counts for all 12 years of their experience here in the school system. And so it's obviously a brilliant program, and we do have great leadership, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention you, who has been around this for a long, long time, buddy.
It's the community. It's the school system. When we first approached the school system, they said the last thing we need is to have something else we put on our educators. And we said, well, we'll take care of that. And that's
Right.
when the idea
It's
of,
amazing. And
bringing the community.
24 and a half years, 25 years.
It's 25 years last summer.
So I do have the honor of reading the proclamation, 24-44. Whereas more than 2 decades ago, the people of Queen Anne's County initially recognized the importance of positive character traits in people and encouraged one another to incorporate these values into their daily lives. And whereas in 2000, the Queen Anne's County Commissioners officially endorsed the 6 pillars of character and declared Queen Anne's County a Characters Counts community. And whereas Character Counts encourages all citizens, corporate and individuals, to incorporate and model the valuable traits of the 6 pillars, which are trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, and an ongoing commitment to promote character development and ethical behavior in our community. Whereas Character Counts has been fortunate in building a great partnership with the Queen Anne's County Public Schools system, in the school year of 2023 to 2024 alone, facilitated over 1,000 hours of Character Counts education experiences for our children. And whereas local business organizations and nonprofits have participated in Character Counts initiative as businesses of character, providing volunteers and financial support and assisting with spreading the message of good character. And whereas through Character Counts, our community has been and will continue to promote the goals of Queen Anne's County's Character Counts Advisory Council to strengthen personal character traits, build families of character, and create more comprehensive communities of character. Now, therefore, the Queen Anne's County Commissioners do hereby invite our citizens to celebrate 24th anniversary of Character Counts in Queen Anne's County. Huge milestone. Huge milestone. And I always share when you guys come in. I actually was a Character Counts coach for 9th graders and for 4th graders. And sometimes those 4th graders sounded a little more mature than our 9th graders did.
Often true. And then we also have our spotlight this month, and we are spotlighting 2 groups for the Pillar of Citizenship. I don't know who's reading that.
Do we have the other one for that?
Should be in your book, Sam. Yeah. Tab 6.
It's on tab 6?
What are you looking for? The
Spotlight.
Spotlight.
Yeah,
But you have it?
you all have it.
Tab
It's
6,
behind
page
your-
3.
It's the flood proclamation.
Go ahead.
Tab 6, page 3. Got it?
Jack. He's up.
Whereas more than 2 decades ago,
No, that one we got. Going for it.
Right behind it.
Jack's got it. Jack's got it.
Yeah.
You can tell we're really well rehearsed here, can't you?
You threw us a curveball with giving us 2.
All right.
It's in the agenda.
Queen Anne's County Commissioners Character Count Spotlight for November 2024. Citizenship is the pillar Character Count celebrates in November. Being a good citizen of your community is more than just voting in elections. It includes being respectful of the community's needs and stepping up when you need to support your neighbors. This month, we'd like to recognize our very own Character Counts volunteers in one of our partner organizations. During the last 24 years, Character Counts is very proud of the over 1,600 community members who have volunteered their time to ensure we can continue to impact our community in a positive way. From serving on our advisory board to partnering with a local classroom and delivering character experiences, Character Counts would not exist in Queen Anne's County without the support of these local citizens. We are forever grateful for their dedication to our children and our initiative and for exemplifying the pillar of citizenship. We'd also like to recognize Delmarva Pets on Wheels. For the past 2 years, Character Counts has partnered with Delmarva Pets on Wheels and welcomed their volunteers and comfort dogs into our character experiences. This local organization not only helps us teach about the pillars of character, but they also demonstrate them through service to our community. In addition to Character Counts, they exhibit citizenship by working with Queen Anne's County school counselors to provide comfort dogs to monthly groups at exam time and coordinate visits to pre-readers in early elementary classrooms to support non-judgmental reading where students read to the dogs as they learn to read. They also work with Queen Anne's County Library to encourage reading as part of their Read to Rover and summer reading programs. But that's not all. They also provide comfort and support by visiting local nursing and assisted living homes and hospice care centers. So far in 2024, the animal-assisted activity teams of Delmarva Pets on Wheels have volunteered about 275 hours, roughly 30 hours per month, in Queen Anne's County. These volunteers live the pillar of citizenship and work hard in their service to our county, and we thank them. You can learn more about Delmarva Pets on Wheels or how to volunteer for Character Counts by visiting our website at www.peopleofcharacter.org. We would love to hear from you about who we should recognize in future spotlights. If you are aware of a business, nonprofit, or individual in the county exemplifying one or all of the 6 pillars of character, be sure to nominate them.
Which is something new that you have brought in on your administration.
It is.
which I think is brilliant.
And it's working very well. And thanks again for all you do, for
For all
support.
you guys do.
Thank you.
All right. Always good. All right, Commissioners, next up, we have Kathy Willis, Director of Community Services, Mike Clark, Executive Director of Housing and Family Services, Annie Sparks, Chief of Aging and Transportation. We have a proclamation and a Department of Community Services update, and they have some folks I think they want to introduce to us here this evening from the Housing Authority. So, all right,
Good evening, gentlemen.
take it away. All right, good
I'm
evening.
Stephanie. How are you all? I'm pleased to be here tonight for our annual trip to see you in the month of November. First and foremost, highlighting National Family Caregivers Month, which is a very large celebration of all the family caregivers that are in the nation, because ironically, we depend more so on family caregivers than we do on paid caregivers to manage our needs with family, elders, young adults, anybody who is requiring caregiving. We're working very hard federally and statewide to improve those services, but it is a great challenge. So we'd like to recognize everyone that is providing caregiving services. So through the Department of Community Services update, we would like to begin with the proclamation that you have for National Family Caregivers Month.
Alrighty then. Proclamation 24-47. Whereas over 53 million Americans today are family caregivers for their loved ones, and whereas a large number of them are finding themselves providing care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas families are often the primary source of support and care for older adults and people with disabilities. And whereas although caregiving can be a rewarding experience, it is not without its consequences such as stress, poor health, and caregiver burnout. And whereas family caregiving can be the most unpaid rewarding job you can have, and whereas making time for yourself and the family protects a family's caregiver's own health, strengthens families' relationships, prevents burnout, and can enable a care recipient to stay at home longer. The chance to take a breather and re-energize is vital for you to be as good as a caregiver for tomorrow as you were today. And whereas the responsibility of family caregivers in our country is growing every year, it is even more essential to encourage these heroes to take some time for respite, attend our local caregivers meetings, attend the Caregivers Conference on November 15th, 2024, and continue to contact the Queen Anne's County Area Agency on Aging for additional resources. And now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County, do hereby recognize November 2024 as National Caregivers Month with the theme, I Care. Signed, the County Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Question
Appreciate
for
it.
you, Kathy.
Yes, sir.
So if I know somebody who needs some help with caregiving,
Yes.
just the time away, someone that can come and sit so they can get some fresh air and perhaps maybe go do some things, who would they reach out to?
They could reach out to our department directly at the Area Agency on Aging,
Okay,
and we can help guide them through resources that might be available.
okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. And I wanted to thank my counterparts for being here tonight. I have Executive Director of Housing and Family Services, Mike Clark, Chief of Aging and Transportation, Annie Sparks. I have a couple other supervisors in the audience. I have Steve Palmer, Transit Administrator, and Stacy Voorhees, Senior Center Administrator. So our updates tonight.
They do a great job.
Well, we're gonna introduce some more people who do a great job tonight. So we're excited, and we thank you for asking us to bring them along tonight to introduce some people. So I'm gonna start out by having our presentation, which I guess I should put on the board. It's already on there. And Mike Clark will start out with the Housing Authority Division that is newly a part of our Community Services Department, and we are thrilled to have them, and things are working beautifully. So,
Good evening.
yours.
Good evening. So I was, like Kathy said, I was thrilled when I heard that you all had requested to have the staff from the the Housing Authority come to be introduced to you. And I will tell you, I knew we were going to get a staff. I didn't know what we were going to get. And we hit the jackpot. We have got great folks. We've got basically two groups, the folks that were here, that were part of the Housing Authority before it transitioned over to the county. And they have been fighting to serve folks and doing a great job. And then we have some other folks that came in that were hired after the partnership began, and they hit the ground running also, and it's been a great job. It's clear that they are just working incredibly hard. They've clearly showed they're a very dedicated group, and I will introduce. I'll start with Lisa Gray. She's our property manager. She was just recently here. Can stand up. And then next is Hassani Paku. Housing Choice Voucher Administrator. And then Kenya Wilson, Specialist. And then Brian Barnshaw, our Facilities Manager. And then Owen Sutherland, he is a Facilities Tech. And then Shenard Long, our Facilities Tech. And she couldn't be here. She had a last-minute urgent issue that she had to be at. It was Terry Newell, our Administrative Assistant, who's done an excellent job. So they are a wonderful group, and thank you so much for inviting me. It means a lot, and they kept asking me, we don't have to say anything, do we? We don't have to say anything. And I said, they might ask you a question, but so, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Can they tell us how Fisher Manor's going?
Would you like to talk about that, Brian?
Anybody want to say anything?
Okay. Come on up.
Come on up. Gotta have a microphone.
Brian, as a facilities manager, there's going to be
Exactly
some
what Mike
times where
told
you're
me
going to
wouldn't
have to
have to
step up
do.
to the mic.
So slowly but surely, we are getting there. We're redoing all the apartments slowly. There's a lot involved there. Some of them are rough, some are not so bad, but it's going well. We've got the playground that's getting redone, as y'all know. That's what, spring, I think they're talking about right now. Other than that,
Redoing decks?
yeah, the decks, we don't really have an answer on the decks yet, but we're doing the front and the back porches and decks.
It's
tell
not,
them
it's
what you
not
did.
an easy job, being a
Tell them what you did
facilities
the other
manager or
night
being a technician.
at
Got
Fisher
too many
Manor.
bosses.
The meet and greet.
Yes, tell them what you
Okay.
did that night.
So we had meet and greet, had pizza, had tenants. Actually had a pretty good turnout. So
And you
it was a
had
good time.
one unit open for people to go see a remodeled unit?
Yes, yep,
What it looks
we
like?
had the office, library open.
Housing Authority.
Had some
Commission.
games for the kids.
All these staff
Ev-
turned out
yeah,
and
everybody
went
was
to do
there.
this in the evening.
So as you're remodeling, then you'll move a tenant from one that needs to be remodeled into the remodeled one, and then sort of work your way through the building.
We have one tenant that wanted to stay there while we did it, so Brian's been making that happen, and that one's wrapping up real soon, but that one.
It's always easy, right?
Yeah.
That one's pretty much done. so,
Yes,
yep.
yes.
So Brian, my first event was the reopening of the library. How's it going? Are people using it?
So yes, yep.
Are the computers holding up and
Yeah, they're in there all the time.
kids?
That's a wonderful program in that it's run by volunteers at the Housing Authority. There's some folks there. I cannot think of the person's name, which I feel horrible about, but she's running an after-school program that I think she's doing it 2 times a week. She did it through the summer, and it's just going great. It's doing great. Brian's been working hard to do some creative things since we can't be there, to make time blocks so that she can open it up pretty easily, or we can, and they can type code in at certain times and get in there and provide the service.
So Brian, not to put more on your plate, but at the ceremony, I was approached by a couple of family members there, and they wanted a garden, a box garden. And I talked to Brad Lundenberg, who is kind of the director for the Boy Scouts in the county, and he said contact him, and maybe one of the scouts would want to do a raised bed for the families there.
Great idea. We've actually got it at Foxtown, so it's.
Oh, really? Yeah. So just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
I think Foxtown was also an Eagle Scout project, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
How long do you think it'll take to redo the apartments? A year, 2 years?
Yeah, I
2
would
years?
say probably a couple of years. So one apartment, if they need a lot of work, they're getting them done within, the contractors we're using are getting them done within a month.
Great.
So, and it's a lot. It's a lot of work. So they're kind of rolling through them, doing a great job.
Well, I've been in a couple of those units, and I really appreciate you guys, y'all attention to detail on those.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good, Michael. So I'm gonna move on, maybe. And Annie's got a little update for you, for transportation.
Yes, we are excited for the headline of this slide for County Ride for Free continuing in 2025. So some updated statistics are there looking at pre-Ride for Free, which would have been 2022. Ride for Free started in 2023. So if we compare the calendar year of 2024 to 2022, that went up 20,000 rides between those 2 years. And then that is a percentage increase of 154%, which is before Ride for Free and after. And we thank the staff that have been working hard to make that happen. Steve Palmer, the transit administrator, and all of the county ride staff who have been working on logistics and schedules to do all of that without adding any additional staff to the team. And then another highlight for them is, of course, providing transportation to the 4 senior center locations, taking people to work on a daily basis. And then they've also worked with the high schools to teach graduating seniors that have special needs on how to ride County Ride. And we've seen that transfer after they graduate to be able to use County Ride to ride to work and things like that. So very successful.
What about your catchy slogan for 25? You had Ride for Free in
Come on, you
23,
had to
Ride
do
some
it, didn't
more
you?
in 24.
We were thinking
Go to the
jive
store
in
in
25. We're taking
We'll
notes.
work on that. See, take notes.
Yeah.
We'll do more on that.
All suggestions are welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Annie. Oh, shut the whole thing off.
It was quick. Yeah.
All right, I'm tired. Michael,
One more.
local management
Oh.
board.
Yeah.
So, local management board, we're focusing on the community reinvestment and repair funds, which was, you all passed County Ordinance 2416 about half an hour ago. And that is a big part
Ready to
of
work
this.
on it. That's fast.
So, yeah, so we've already got the plan. Thanks to Jeff Rank, who helped write that. Thanks to Lacey Amos, who is coordinating and administering the local management board. And thanks to the members of the local management board that have come up with priorities. So you can see that. And also Department of Business and Tourism. The META program, a minority-owned businesses within the county providing training and mentorship. Some of the funds that come from that program will go to that. The homelessness prevention will go to the Division of Housing to help with homeless prevention, which will be a big help as COVID funds start to decline. We're starting to notice that the funds available aren't necessarily matching up with requests, or currently starting to have concerns about that. The after-school programs, which we discussed a little bit, that's also another area that could use additional funding and has shown some cuts in recent times. And then lastly, funds from that ordinance and from the state funds for it will go to a community initiative where folks can apply for various nonprofit type programs and charitable programs, and that the board that's identified in this ordinance will review those applications and make awards as the funding is available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, something else we wanted to note and celebrate is the first anniversary of the Active Aging Center. It's hard to believe we're already through a year of that being open at the Queen Anne's County Family YMCA, and we've provided some statistics there for you with a lot of new membership seeing at that location, as well as, to our surprise, a large number of congregate meals being served, which we didn't know how that would go at this location, but it's taken off really well. So we're pleasantly surprised with that, with overall units of service being over 6,800. So I also wanted to note that they've started a site council there to have volunteer members contribute to what is offered there and volunteer with events and things like that. And I also wanted to shout out the staff who have been working really hard to make this all possible through the first year and creating a lot from scratch. So that is Stacy Voorhees, the Senior Center Administrator, as well as Bethany Bennon, the Senior Center Manager, and Mary Ann Thompson, the Senior Center Aide, along with the YMCA staff who have been great partners in this.
Sweet.
And last slide but not least is our holiday gala. And a big thank you to the county commissioners for once again
Need a new battery for that, I think.
being,
I did it again.
Oh, Bruce is back there. Every time you push a button, he pushes another button.
a big thank you to the county commissioners, for your generosity in providing the gala free of charge for all the senior center members in attendance. It's the ticket sales have been open for less than 2 weeks, and they've already sold 68 of those complimentary tickets, so they're going fast. We have a country Christmas theme this year, and none other than the one and only DJ Jack Wilson, Commissioner, back by popular demand.
DJ Jack Wilson. That just doesn't roll off the tongue well.
It does.
We need to come up with something like.
Jumpin' Jack, Flash Jack.
I have my cowboy hat already.
So that will be Friday, December 6th, 5 to 9. And there are still tickets available for anyone that's watching that's interested. They will be available as long as supplies last through November 20th. So once again, a big thank you to making it happen.
Sweet.
And so I want to thank everybody, all of the staff included. I'm especially grateful that all the Public Housing Authority staff came tonight. It's good to recognize these folks, and again, we're happy to have them on board. All of our team continue to do a tremendous job. We're getting through Medicare Part D enrollment one appointment at a time, and it's been tremendous because a couple of local vendors have stopped providing that service, so they sent about 800 more people our way. So the girls are doing a great job, the Community Services Division, and hopefully we can serve everybody that needs it. And our other exciting thing that happened just this morning was the first day of renovations in the dining room of the Kramer Center. So we're very excited and grateful to Public Works for working with us and getting a contractor on board and starting those renovations. So our project continues, and we hope in the winter months of 2025 we'll have that space back to be able to use.
Good.
Awesome. Winter months, that gives you like a
well, it's
60-day window either.
Well, it's a 90-day contract, so it's technically not supposed to be due till the end of February, so I'd give it, till March or so. Lee's in the room, so I'm not going to say too much. But thank you very much.
Look forward to the ribbon cutting for the big room again, so we'll be there.
We do too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Exactly.
All right, Commissioners, our next presenter, Mr. Charles Chip McLeod with Clean Chesapeake Coalition. He provided a very comprehensive resolution that is on your desktop, Resolution 2408. And unfortunately, I don't think Mr. McLeod is
Here.
in the building
I'll
tonight.
make a motion to sign it.
So
I'll
if
make
you
a
want
motion
to,
adopt Resolution 2408.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Can I discuss after?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aye.
5-0. Go ahead, Matt.
So, they've just done a phenomenal job with this, and I'm working with them a little bit. From a legal standpoint, if we send this to all the other counties, it's so detailed, right? right? It's so good, and he made it so perfect that it could take months for their legal team to go through this. So I'm gonna call them and ask if we could just kind of rewrite it for one page, maybe 2 pages tops, and then we could, you know, vote on that at the next meeting also. So this is good. I just think we need a little bit of a different strategy.
Okay. All right, that works.
So we're good with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, well, Commissioners, that is all of the presentations for this evening. We can now move into our action items for this evening. So first, if you want to switch to tab number 2, we have one item for the Department of Public Works. We have the Percy Thomas Roof Replacement and HVAC Renovations Contract Award. So we received sealed proposals end of last month for the Percy Thomas Center roof replacement and HVAC renovations. We received, looks like 8 bids, ranging from $543,298 up to almost $975,000. We did canvass those bids, and Roof Pro LLC was determined to have the lowest responsive and responsible bid. Funding is available in the Kent Island Senior Center renovations project, so we would recommend Roof Pro from Severn, Maryland, for that contract of $543,298. And Mr. Lee Eggers here if you have any questions about the project.
I move to award the Percy Thomas Center roof replacement HVAC renovation contract to Roof Pro LLC of Severn, Maryland, in the amount of $543,289, and authorize Director of Public Works to issue the notice of award and execute the contract on behalf of the county commissioners.
Second.
Tie.
That was in stereo.
Yeah, really.
You get to pick.
You got to pick.
You get to pick.
That's a lot
Put a
of pressure.
slash in between it. Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Lee, you came here just for this one thing. I just might as well come up and sit down and just the condensed version of exactly what the project's going to entail.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioners. And as Kathy alluded, we've been, Public Works has been immersed with updating a lot of our senior housing facilities over the last year. The projects have been going very well. This is one that we've been working toward for a while. The roof on the Percy Thomas Center is original to the construction, as well as we have aging rooftop units which have surpassed their lifetime expectancy. So we're in a position where looking to replace all this in one fell swoop. As Todd had alluded, we were very pleased to be seeing good participation from bidders. We did receive 8 bids. There was a pretty good span. Again, and as always, there tend to be reasons for it. It could be that a bidder has missed something, or it could be owing to discounts or opportunities that one bidder has over another, and or his availability. So in this case, we did speak with several references from this bidder, Roof Pro out of Severn, Maryland. We've not worked with them before. However, they demonstrated many examples of similar projects that they've worked on. We've spoken with the owners and representatives who have indicated that they deliver a good product. They've been responsive. And so from our standpoint, we're satisfied that we have a good contractor, seemingly a very competitive price. So with your blessing, we'd like to proceed with the work and commence another project for Kathy and the team and get things buttoned up before winter.
Very good.
All good.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 1 absent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks,
Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Edgar, as always. All right, Commissioners, we can move into our action items. We have 10 action items. So tab number 3, item 1 on page 1. We have a very special guest here this evening for proclamation number 24-46 for Diabetes Awareness Month.
Sit down and tell everybody who you are, and then you can read
Please
the proclamation
yes,
for
please
us.
introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name's Isabella Corcorino. This is my dad. And I just have a few things that I want to say before I do this proclamation.
Sure.
Can you imagine what it must be like to feel like your body's shutting down and nobody understands what's wrong? Well, that's how I felt at 13 years old when I was away at summer camp, where everyone told me that I was fine, but I wasn't. They said I was overreacting, they said I was dehydrated, but I knew that my body was not functioning how it should be. It wasn't until I got home that my mom insisted that something was wrong, brought me to the emergency room, and in a matter of seconds, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I was in diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a life-threatening condition of diabetes, and was told that if I had not come to the hospital when I did, my chances of waking up the next morning were really slim. That is my story of diabetes. In the last few years, it has become clear that there is a gross lack of awareness and education on all forms of diabetes. I've had many uncomfortable situations where people have commented on the Dexcom that I wear on my arm or my insulin shots that I have to take every single time I want to eat food. I've gotten to a point in my life where I want to make a difference for myself and other diabetics who struggle with this, which is what brings me here tonight to address November's Diabetes Awareness Month. Whereas diabetes is a chronic health condition affecting millions worldwide, which can lead to serious complications and diminished quality of life, and whereas there are 3 primary types of diabetes. Gestational diabetes develops during pregnancy in women who did not previously have diabetes. Type 1 diabetes occurs when the body's immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. Early signs include increased thirst, frequent urination, sudden weight loss, blurred vision, fatigue, and slow healing sores. Type 2 diabetes results from insulin resistance where the body doesn't use insulin effectively. Whereas early detection of type 1 diabetes is crucial, a simple blood sugar test can help prevent delayed or misdiagnosis, which can lead to potentially life-threatening diabetic ketoacidosis. And whereas diabetes awareness is essential to educate the public about prevention, management, and treatment. And whereas people with diabetes may need to administer insulin injections or perform finger prick blood glucose tests in public. These are normal management practices that should be conducted without public scrutiny. And whereas increased awareness can empower individuals to seek diagnosis and intervention, reducing the risk of complications and encouraging further research to find better treatments and a cure. And whereas November is designated as Diabetes Awareness Month, a time to promote education, awareness, and support for those living with diabetes. And now, therefore, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County do hereby proclaim the month of November as Diabetes Awareness Month, and encourage all citizens to learn more about diabetes, support those affected, and participate in local events aimed at raising awareness and promoting healthy lifestyles. Thank you.
Very good.
Hold on, we're gonna do a picture with
Better
you.
get a picture of that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad I brushed my hair before this.
Me too.
Hey, so Todd did the same
Unnatural.
thing.
Yeah, I did the same thing, right?
My dad, can you tell I get my humor from my dad? My humor on my hair.
Mom?
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Get back to work, intern.
Okay.
Get back to work.
All right, it's all downhill from there. All right, Commissioners, back to tab number 3, item 2, pages 2 through 8. We have a memorandum here from our Parks and Recreation Director, Steve Chanley. This is for they're requesting to purchase a prefabricated concrete restroom from CTX for the newly opened Terrapin Skate Park. They're using the procurement contract with Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract in the amount of $95,069. There is some additional work that they will need to contract out for site work and for utility connections. So the overall project is scheduled for $124,845.30 for that project. And we have funding available. Excuse me, go ahead.
I move to approve the purchase a prefabricated concrete restroom from CXT Incorporated using the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement in the amount of $95,069 and authorize the Department of Parks and Rec to contract local vendors for installation of the utilities and groundwork for the estimated amount of $64,707.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Are we doing anything with the cameras on a lot of these? I mean, we're putting a lot of assets in our parks now. I'm just curious, are we getting cameras installed in certain places?
We have cameras on some parks, I know that.
I know, I'm just wondering.
We are, yeah, we talked about having some cameras installed there. In fact, I'm working on the inventory of cameras throughout the county, and it's much more significant than I thought.
And some
So we have a
upgrades.
lot
Well,
of those
we
and
just
some
talked
upgrades.
about Waterman's Way and all that stuff. I'm just,
Yep.
so we are
Yes.
doing a. good.
Yes, we are.
I mean, with the technology today, you can, I mean,
Yeah.
none of this 18 millimeter blurry pictures, you know, you're getting.
You're aging yourself.
Commissioner, the other thing is
Thank you, Jack.
Paul Reed Smith is going to donate bleachers to this
The
project.
skate park, yep.
Uh-huh.
It's great, because I see a lot of parents out there with their folding chairs, so they're gonna.
They're out there all hours of the
All the
day,
time.
all
That's
the
great.
time.
And
It's
lots of
very,
use.
yeah, very well used, very nice facility.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item 3 on page 9 is a memorandum from Amy Mordock and Vivian Swinson. We've consulted with State's Attorney, and it's recommended that the legal management of the zoning code enforcement cases should be handled by the Planning Commission Attorney, Ms. Lindsay Ryan. She plays the direct role in legal support to the Planning and Zoning Office, and we would recommend naming her as the enforcement agent. And that's similar to what Chris Drummond did before her. Yeah.
I move to approve Planning Attorney Lindsay Ryan as the assistant to County Attorney Patrick Thompson for the purpose of handling the enforcement of zoning code cases and prosecuting civil infractions in district court.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 4 on pages 10 through 16 is a K. Obnanian Four Seasons of Kent Island. This is phases 3 and 4. This is administrative subdivision. These are legal documents to amend the deed of open space on several residential lot lines within the community. It does reduce the open space by 0.345 acres, which requires an amendment to the existing easement held by the Commissioners, but they have adequate, substantially adequate open space elsewhere on the property, well above what's required by the county code.
I move to execute the fourth amended deed of open space easement for the Cahovanian Four Seasons at Kent Island Phase 3 and 4 amendment plats.
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, this is not creating any new homes in Four Seasons or anything, it's basically cleaning up some lines on the lots. It's just an administrative.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Our next 3 items are for our Transit Division of the Department of Community Services. The first is a capital grant agreement for a vehicle purchase, and this is for $160,000 for 2 minivans, and all the paperwork has been reviewed by County Attorney Patrick Thompson. We are required to put up 10% of the grant for the match for these 2 units.
Move to accept the Maryland Transit Administration's capital grant agreement purchase of 2 minivans totaling $160,000 to certify the Queen Anne's County Department of Community Services Area on Aging will operate the public transit system and accept awards as offered by the State of Maryland Department of Transportation for 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item 6 on pages 29 through 39, this is also Maryland Transit Administration. This is a capital grant agreement for the development of a transit development plan, and this is a grant for $100,000 for that effort, which will will include a review of our existing services, review of demographics, fixed routes, short-term, long-term goals, operational activities, and capital plans.
I move to accept the Maryland Transit Administration's capital grant agreement for a transit development plan for $100,000 to certify that the Queen Anne's County Department of Community Services Area on Aging will operate the public transit system and accept awards as offered by the State of Maryland Department of Transit for FY 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. And lastly, we have the Maryland Transit Administration's Capital Grant Agreement for Operating Grant Funds, and this is for the FY25 operating grant from the federal and state allocations to continue supporting the budget for our transit programs in the amount of $398,097.
I move to accept the Maryland Transit Administration's capital grant agreement for a total of $398,097 to certify that the Queen Anne's County Department of Community Services on Aging will operate the public transit system and accept awards as offered by the state of Maryland on transit for FY 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 8 is from the Department of Emergency Services. This is for an ambulance stretcher purchase. It's on pages 54 and 55. As you know, we Commissioners approved a capital project for 2 additional EMS transport units, and with the additional funds in that budget, we have procured 2 Stryker medical power load systems for $128,251 to outfit those units with the stretcher units.
I move to authorize the Director of Department of EMS Services to purchase 2 Power Pro 2 stretchers and 2 power load systems from Stryker, totaling $128,251.52.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Is this the ones that lift the 500-pound? You can.
The 500-pound what?
Okay, the answer is yes.
There you go.
They can handle about 750 pounds.
750 pounds.
Just press the button and it, phenomenal. Is Stryker the only one who makes them?
Yeah, there's two main manufacturers, Furno and Stryker. Stryker is what we predominantly use throughout the whole county. It would be very difficult if we switched manufacturers because they take different batteries, different systems, and
Just get a new ambulance.
What's nice about having one consistent system across the county is we can just unload one person and move them right into another unit and have no issues with it. But if we start switching and using 2 different systems, then we'd have a major problem in the field.
It's a great product.
It is. My back wish we had it 30 years ago.
All righty, anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Commissioners, 2 last items. Item number 9 on pages 56 and 57. This is Budget Amendment CC5 for the Federal Recovery Funds, ARPA funds. And this amendment actually exchanges ARPA funding and prior year fund balance for various projects that have been spent. There is currently just over $1 million of unallocated, unobligated ARPA funds, and this amendment authorizes reallocating those to projects that have current spending so that we can exhaust these monies by the end of this year and obligate it per the agreement.
I move to approve Budget Amendment CC5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. And lastly, we have Budget Amendment CC22. This is the FY 2024 year-end general fund budget reconciliation and closeout. This is the annual year-end budget amendment for FY 24 to reconcile budget authority for general fund and capital activities and departments that were underallocated and the transfer of funding over to the general capital projects for next year's capital budget.
It's $9 million.
Yeah, $8 million of that is for the capital plan for next year. Yeah.
Motion to approve CC22.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Thank God.
All right. Commissioners, that is all of the action items we had this evening. We can take press and public comment. Any submissions?
Would anybody like to speak? We'll close press and public comment, go right to the round table.
All right,
We'll
round
start
table.
with numero uno. That would be you, Jay.
Oh, one, got it.
You're not used to being called number one, huh?
Call a lot of other things. So I just wanted to give a shout out this time of year to all of our nonprofits we have here in Queen Anne's County. What a great job they do. You know, we try to help them out when we can at budget time, but, you know, I think if we went back and we were able to study what the return on that investment is, I think we'd find out we're getting, the citizens are getting that money back tenfold in terms of the tax dollar and what it's actually delivered to the community between all of our nonprofits. So just want to give them a big shout out, and I know they're coming into their busy season where they're going to be giving things out and gathering things up. So God love having them here. So that's all I got.
Christmas time.
It is, yeah.
Patrick?
I can't remember.
You're numero 2.
Did we talk about the Chestertown thing? I don't think we have. Right? I don't think we've met since then.
I don't think so.
I'll let you talk about yesterday, which was just a phenomenal. After that, the president of For All Seasons spoke eloquently about mental health veterans, and obviously that goes way past our veterans. It's their families that are affected, and it's just great that we have something like VAMSA to help military folks that are struggling. But to that point also, after the great ceremony that Commissioner Moran was part of, I was approached by someone that said, you know, we've heard about the short-term crisis center that we're trying to build in Kent County, and then the new hospital that we're building, and that there's going to be a shortage of clinicians because those two new hospitals will take from other clinicians. So it's just something that the counties have to think about very soon, about how we're going to attract quality physicians, quality nurses, quality healthcare providers, therapists, et cetera, for mental health and for surgical, to want to come to this best part of the state and live here. So we're going to have to talk about that, and so we don't end up with a shortage of physicians. And Dr. Ciatola has some really good ideas about it, and more information to come.
Good point.
Philippe?
So a couple things. I just want to send a shout out to the residents of Gibson's Grant. They recently held a food drive and donated over a ton of food to be distributed to under-resourced families from our Two Havens Ministries food pantries. Residents of Gibson's Grant provided volunteer support to our programs, donated funds, and support the organization in many ways. And I just think it was important that we recognize those folks from Gibson's Grant. I know we have other communities within our county that do similar work like that, but just a quick shout out to the folks at Gibson's Grant. And then, of course, would certainly be remiss. We talked about the new ordinance regarding folks that have been convicted of animal cruelty. And it's not just a simple ordinance. I mean, it's important that we understand that there are people that move into our community that have done terrible things to animals, and we need to know who those people are when they come to our community. And I certainly would be remiss if I didn't mention the one gal that really put a lot of work into making this ordinance a reality. She approached our sheriff and our district attorney. So I want to personally thank Kathy Trotter for her efforts and her commitment, and her goal is to hope that this becomes a state requirement, that we would be the first county in the state of Maryland to make this work. So Kathy Trotter couldn't be here this evening because she's under the weather, but kudos to you and your effort to make this ordinance come through. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I'm good.
He's good. All right, I guess yesterday was Veterans Day, and the day before that was the Marine Corps birthday. But yesterday, we being the VAMSA, the county, and multiple agencies dedicated Veterans Point at Wells Cove. It was a project that was donated through Mike Foster. One of his clients passed away and wanted the money used for veteran projects up and down the Chesapeake Bay. And that's what this became. It's about $150,000. Our Park Service, our Public Works, everybody worked together to get this built, and a place to reflect upon veterans and their sacrifices, be it during times of war and not times of war. It was a good draw, and I appreciate everybody coming out. I want to give a shout out to Eric Johnson and VAMSA. They really put this whole thing together.
Jim, the acronym for VAMSA.
Oh, no. You know me with them acronyms. So I'm not going to even go there, sorry. So anyways, with that being said, you know, I think that hopefully there's more to come. We were talking about the mental health, and yesterday they had a speaker about that for veterans. And I noticed that when Eric got up, he spoke that they are fairly confident they think they've saved 18 lives in 3 years. So that's commendable, and that's a job well done, and that's filling a need that we truly need in the county. So happy to hear that. I don't know, Todd, can you pull up on the email from MBTA? They just came out today with the hearings. You got it? Okay. Just the dates for Broadneck and then the Kent Island High School.
Yeah, so they have listed.
Sorry, Marshall. They sent out a tweet that I was looking at actually as the meeting was going on. So I'm not sure. They have the dates of December 4th, 9th, and 11th from 6 to 8. From 6 to 8. But it doesn't say
The
where.
4th is virtual.
Okay.
So the 4th is virtual?
Yeah, you can go to the baycrossingstudy.com
Right.
for all the
I think
information.
the 11th, the last one, is at Kent Island High School. So please, if you make some time to come, look at what they've got, give them your input. All this is part of, the phase 2 of the NEPA, so we can keep moving forward on the bridge. And tonight, unfortunately, with the wind, there was no contraflow, so the backups are almost dissipated, but, this is what we face. So the sooner we can get moved forward on that, the better off we're going to be. And I can't believe nobody wanted to mention anything about the elections? No? No?
What happened?
I don't know. Just seeing if anybody.
That happened already?
Yeah.
Oh.
I took a fall that day. It might have been part of the problem, but anyways.
I can say I'm glad the river. How's that?
Yeah, that's right.
Does that work?
That's right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye.